guys.
Current head coach of the Bristol Flyers. Me and Andreas have known each other for a very long time. We coached together with the national team. Andreas just told me this was your 18th season with the Flyers. It's an incredible achievement, being with the same team for 18 years. Started in Division 3 or 4, was it back then?
Yeah, there was no Division 4.
There was no Division, yeah. And it's taken them all the way up into the BBL. We're very lucky to have Andreas with us today. He's one of the best coaches in the country. And his presentation today is on the evolution of coaching through Bristol Flyers. So over to you, Andreas.
Thank you. It's an honor to be with you guys. My topic is evolution, and I think probably that's a good starting point. This is the only BBL court that I've been ejected, 9 years. All right, and this year I was the coach apparently with the least technicals right at the end. So that's evolution right there, kind of thing. All right, just in terms of my background a little bit, so I can just kind of give you an idea. I mean, James touched upon the club. I came here in '99 to study at the University of Bath, and I started my coaching at the university in 2000, men and women. And then an opportunity came to Bristol, and I was as an assistant coach to start with, and then a head coach in the academy program. It used to be called Filton College, now it's called SGS College. And I was head of the program for a number of years. I've coached about 15 years in terms of the academy, junior basketball. And then I've been with the men's team since day one, 2005, September 2005, 18 years and counting. Division 3 1 year, the following year Division 2, and the year after that Division 1, 7 years in Division 1, and now 9 years in the BBL. It has been an incredible journey. And when I came to the UK, when I came to Bath, I never thought, well, one, I would stay that long, or like I would be coaching basketball either. I came to study economics, completely different subject. But to see the growth of the program, my growth as a coach has been great. And I had the privilege to be involved with the national team program. 2 years with the under-15s, England under-15s, 2 years with England under-16s, 4 years with GB under-20s as assistant coach and head coach, and I had also the honor to be involved with the men's program for almost 3 years, basically, as well. So it kind of gives you a little bit of my background, different levels, junior basketball, academy basketball, national league, and national team as well. And what I wanted to do was, when James approached me, I just wanted to do something that is not just clinic talk, it's not just X's and O's. I wanted to talk to you about my evolution as a coach, and hopefully something you guys can relate to, because you might be in different stages in your journey now. And certainly there will be some X's and O's, but there are some things that I figure out along the way. I didn't have someone that I was assisting. I had to go out there and do it myself. And I'm learning all the time. It's a constant process for me. Every day I'm getting better. And listening to the guys, Gary, Jordanas, Vince, there's always one thing you can take. It could be a lot of things. It could be just one thing that you can kind of add it. And I think for me that has been kind of my approach from a coaching perspective, and it has had ups and downs. I've made every mistake there is to do as a coach. I'm convinced of that, and I'm probably still doing that. But the thing with it I've learned is, as long as you come the next day and you're a little bit better, and you've learned from those mistakes and you're trying to improve, that's the most important thing. So this is going to be a little bit about evolution, and what I have is I saw some stuff on the core tactical perspective, offense, defense, and then I'm going to show you some clips as well, so you can get a bit of an overall feel. And certainly I think questions, will be really good as well. And certainly we can leave them towards the end, but if there is something really pressing, please just raise your hand and I'll just deal with it anyway. I'll start first of all from an evolution perspective, just to talk a little bit about our team identity. And that's something that throughout the years, what we wanted to build was this mentality, this underdog mentality. coming as Bristol in the BBL, budget, figuring things out. Where we've based the program is having this chip on our shoulder, this kind of aspect of our program that we want to be physical, we want to be tough and be together. And that's the foundation, really, of everything that we're doing. And we're developing that. But that team identity has been very important for us, how we go about doing things. We want maximum effort, and you can never play down the value of playing hard. You know, and when people talk about Bristol, probably one of the things they talk is how physical we are, how hard we play. And I think for me, that's the starting point. If you don't play hard, then you have issues. You can do all the X's and O's in the world. You need to play hard. So for us, that has been very important. And as we develop in the BBL years, certainly that toughness has really helped us. And we've built our resilience, that capacity to recover from difficulties. That has been very important. And that next play. And that has been something that, like we're talking all the time, that next play mentality. Don't think about the miss shot, the turnover, bad defensive rotation, whatever it may be, but just concentrate on the next play. And certainly this year's team did a great job. We finished third, our highest ever finish in the BBL in 9 years. We made it to the playoff semifinals, and we're 2 possessions away from being in the playoff final. And for us, that team identity, that chip on our shoulder, that's the first thing that we talked on day one. And it helped us that they did some speculations where we're going to finish on the league table, and it was right at the bottom. So that helped us even more to build on that underdog mentality. So that's the first thing in terms of team identity. The second thing that I wanted to talk about was system and style of play. So going to the BBL from Division 1, more imports, higher level talent-wise, more athleticism, more physicality. And I think for us, we've made a transition over the years. We're probably very structured to start with. And as that gave us some early success, I think we became more predictable. And what we found is, even though we're able to compete from day one, it didn't always give us the best opportunity to be some of the top teams in the league. And one of those transitions was becoming more unpredictable in terms of what we're doing. And to do that, a little bit less systematic, a little bit less unstructured, and a little bit of organized chaos at times. So this year was probably the best example of that, because when the game became chaotic, we're actually in control. And I think it's very difficult to understand that, to be playing at pace and let players kind of make decisions and be able to live with that. But I think that gave us the opportunity to be some of the best teams. And certainly you look back, our records, when we play Leicester, 17 games in the BBL, 1-7, it took us to beat them. Okay, so from the first year in the BBL, it took us 17 games. Okay, on the 18th game, we beat them. But that was probably about 4 years later than we entered the BBL. And that has to do how we changed the system and how I adapted, how I grew as a coach, because what I had to do on the court had to be different to give us an opportunity against any opponent on the day. And, in the BBL, you guys follow it. Some teams are a lot more free in terms of what they're doing. Some teams are a lot more systematic. Okay, and there's great talent. I mean, Coach was talking about it. Okay, Dirk Williams, okay, and Ramon Fletcher. Ramon Fletcher, you can put on the scout, no left-hand drive, take away left-hand drive. Well, it's one thing saying it, it's another thing doing it. Dirk Williams, okay, the leak outs in transition, the ability to shoot the free. It's one thing saying let's run him off the arc, no cheap baskets, but it's another thing doing it. So I think for us, the system and the style of playing, how we change, and that's what I'm going to explain a little bit. And it will be on offense and defense, some adjustments that we made that I feel allowed us to compete with the best. And just for, again, this year we beat London twice. It was us and Sheffield, okay, the teams that were able to do that. Okay, Leicester, okay, who finished second, we finished a record 3-3. Okay, so 3 wins, 3 losses. So it just gave us an opportunity to be able to compete, okay, with those teams. And I think for us, that was very important in terms of our mentality. In terms of the next thing that I really grew as a coach was, which hopefully you guys will probably be able to relate, is dealing with the grind of a basketball season. There is a lot of emotional roller coaster that goes with wins and losses. And I'm a very emotional type of guy, even though I have managed to rein it in a little bit, and that has been part of my learning. But in terms of win and loss, focusing more, staying more consistent and focusing on the process. And that's easier said than done, but I think that has been very important. It was very important for our players because I was not being consistent with them. And I think when you're going on a Monday and you're moody or you're down just because you lost a game, that doesn't help the team develop. You've got to be the same when you go in for wins, when you go for losses, because it's about the improvement of the team. Players don't do mistakes because they want to. Like, they don't lose games because they want to, okay? Players want to win. They want to compete. So they feel bad. I feel bad. But the one thing I have to do is be consistent and be able to focus them on what's important. So I think for me, dealing with the grind was another big thing that I learned in the 9 years in the BBL. And the next one, I talked about players' relationships. And, I talked about structure, unstructure. I think for me, in my earlier years, a guy would take a bad shot, I would probably lose it, and probably he would be sitting next to me, okay? But I've changed a lot in that regard. Players have to have freedom. They cannot think, if I take this shot, coach is going to sum me out. If I do this, we want players to be empowered, and we want them to be able to go there and do things. And I think for me, that has been the mindset. And, if you need to call a timeout to intervene, sub a guy in, you would do it, but you've got to give them freedom. And I think, and again, this has been a process for me, and I'm just being really honest. I think to be able to do that, when the player knows that the coach has confidence in them, then the player feels valued, and then the player has confidence to go out there and do plays, and then you have success, then the player also believes in themselves as well, okay, which goes back to the original coach believing in him. So I think for me, players need to know they are being valued. They need to know that there's belief in them. And then when they do that, and you give them that freedom and certainly guide them in the right direction, then great things happen. My last thing is about habits, before I go on the court stuff. We are what we repeatedly do, okay, a little bit of an Aristotle quote, okay, excellence therefore is not an act, it's a habit. Well, it's about establishing habits. And the other thing I learned over the years is it doesn't have to be perfect. I think sometimes I would just, introduce something, or we would do something and I would stay on it in practice or whatever, and it doesn't have to be perfect. It can get better throughout the course of the season, and I think that will pay dividend. And you've got to be patient, okay? Patience helps improvement. If you're impatient, then improvement doesn't happen. If you're inconsistent, okay, and you're also impatient, then your team is not going to get better. And I think that has been, for me, some of the stuff that have come out. So hopefully some of those things have been useful to you. And this is kind of part of my journey, and it has really helped our approach. And you can see the results where we were in the earlier years in the BBL and where we're now. And certainly talent, smart recruitment, all those things helps. You've got to have good players to win games. I mean, let's be honest. But I think in terms of what we do in Bristol, that has played a big part. In terms of offensive stuff, I'm going to go a little bit into offense now. I think, and I'm going to show you a few things. It goes back to the structure, unstructured side of things. Earlier in the BBL years, we would run a lot of flow motion, continuity type of stuff. And the points of emphasis will be similar to what we're still doing, but we felt that particularly the flow motion offense made us a little bit more predictable. And as we went, we kept some of those concepts, but we went into a more 4-out, 5-out type of spacing of offense where maybe the flow motion was with two bigs, and then more the spread concepts, which I'm going to talk about a little bit, were more 4-out, 5-out, giving us more space and playing with one big. So I'm going to show a couple of the things, and then I've got some video. Can I have 5 whites, please, with one basketball? Can I have let the ball here, up on top? Let me have a guard with the ball in their hands. Okay, let me have a guy on the wing. Let me have the 4 here. Okay, the 5 down on the block. And then if you go in the corner and you just get up, all right? Just start behind the halfway line. So in the earlier years, we would do a lot of flow motion concepts. You have seen this so much, so I'm not going to plan to stay too long on this. But we pass the ball up the floor, space to the opposite 45 for me. We will look inside. If nothing, ball reversal. Okay, backdoor cut, left pass, follow. Keep going. Left through the slot, pass. Okay, backdoor cut, pass, follow, and we will have this type of continuity. And through there, we will develop other concepts. Let's rewind it all the way back, please. It doesn't matter who has the basketball. So it could be dribble entries, dribble, go through. Okay, lift up for a ball screen. Space, space. Come off the ball screen, look to attack, good, pass it. There, good, space. Okay, you can even set a little back screen potentially for the guy to go to the corner. Backdoor cut, pass. Fly off, good, pass it. Okay, good, stop. Keep the ball up on top, please. Good, keep going through. And we could go to dribble handoffs, okay, pizza heads, all those type of things, and just keep on playing. So we did a lot of that early on. And if we rewind it back, please. Then we will have counters and reads on it, and, you know, what does the defense do? How do they play the ball screen? You know, how do they play the cuts? Okay, so we will add stuff like shallow cuts, pass, space, pass it, backdoor, pass it, follow it, left, pass it, stop, okay? And instead of going backdoor, go a shallow cut to the elbow, and see if you can rub in off your guy and maybe potentially turn the corner. But at the same time, while that's happening, you lift it always up. If you're the 4, stay on the block for me. Okay, we could have pizza heads to go play the ball screen. Hold the ball here. Okay, we could have reversal up on top, and we will go to a ball screen. Okay, or bring the ball back. All right, we will have DHO. And as the shallow cut, if he gets denied, stop there, space in the corner. We'll bring the guy on the elbow, pass, back door, back screen, and we will just continue movement. And again, the purpose of this clinic is not for me to show you too much about flow motion, just to understand a little bit how we were playing at the time, okay? And we had great success with it, but the one thing we found with this is, thank you guys, and stay though, I'm going to kind of go through something more. The one thing we found with this is it became predictable. And teams were able to switch things. And we will find a situation where we'll go side to side for about 14 seconds, 20 seconds. There will be 5 seconds left on the clock. And the guy that we didn't want necessarily to have the ball in their hands had the ball. And we were like, okay, this is going to be a tough night. And we have some of those variations offensively. We'll have some games in the 60s, 70s, and that was part of the issue at times. Some of it was just not making shots, okay? But I felt that as much it was good for us and it was teaching us how to play, it also kind of sometimes made our offense stagnant. So some of that transition for us was to go into what we call a head, drag, and spread, okay? So let me have the point guard with the basketball, please. Let's start on the halfway line. Let me have, are you the former? Yeah, just come back. Okay, and let me have you just rim running, but just stop on the 3-point line. and go all the way back. Coach talked about transition. Again, for me, I'm not going to show that. We want to play with pace, okay, but we want to also have composure, okay, and we want to be able to play through the shot clock with concepts and having solutions in terms of what the defense does. And we give a lot of freedom. We want guys to get to spots and fill the corners, okay? And coach talked about what spacing does and everything like that. Come a little bit more. If we can advance the ball up the floor in transition, great. We've got to look to do that every opportunity we have, and that's our first look. But if not, we want our ball handlers to be aggressive. And one of the things, similar to coach, this year in particular, any of our perimeter guys, any of our 4 guys, okay, could bring the ball down the floor. It didn't matter who it was. If it was Thomas Bear, VJ King, any of those guys, point guard, it didn't matter. We will just come down the floor. So this is ahead. And for us ahead, if you imagine a line where the ball is across the court, for us ahead is when the 5-man is ahead of the ball. And what we would do in these situations would be rim run, okay, try to get position, come down. If we cannot hit him, then we will look for ball reversal. And then we will go to a pass and follow or a DHO. Let's have a DHO quickly. Start lifting towards the elbow area and stay up on top. 2 steps of the 3-point line. Stay on the elbow. Just you take 2, almost like you're just not playing offense, but you are. So space the court up on top. We will hit the ball up on top, stay within the slot, and we will come and play off the step up. And it could happen a little bit closer. It might happen a little bit that way, but the angle will be such where the butt of the player will be towards the baseline, towards the corner of the court, and look to play. The big will come off and roll hard. We will lift, maybe short rows, long rows, depending on personnel. I'm not going to go into that. This is more detail. Okay, this is about more the evolution of the system rather than the detail today. Okay, so that was ahead for us. The other option that the big had when he's ahead, space back, come down the floor. Anytime our big was running down the floor, stop there. Okay, and he saw he could not get the ball, or a defender was with him or in front of him, they will have complete freedom to come back and set step-up ball screens. And they will happen at any level of the floor. It could happen before the halfway line, after the halfway line, on the 3-point line, okay, and it could be on different angles, okay? And it could happen even when 72, what's your name? Melky. Go through, lift space, 45, corner. It could happen like an empty corner. And one thing in transition is, we told our guys, you're not going cross court. If you're running down the floor, so let's go back, take a step, 2, 3 steps back as you're coming down that way. Keep coming, keep coming. If we find ourselves in this situation, that you go to the corner, you keep the spacing and stop on the 45, and you just make sure you keep space as well with the guy in front of you. And then be ready to play that step up, and we will continue. And we will let guys play. All right, so he will roll. If we could score on the first side, great. Like, if no, okay, roll to the rim. Pass. No, sorry, my bad. Pass the ball there. Come back and say the step up again. Take 2 bounces and pass it behind you, okay? And roll to the rim. There, good. Stop there. All right. We will look high-lows, one-on-ones, okay? And then we will go to our flow stuff. Stay on that side. Backdoor cut. DHO, lift up to the step up. Stay on the elbow. Lift up. Ball goes up on top. Step up. And we attack. And the step up will happen more inside the elbow. We will try to centralize it more. And if for whatever reason, pass the ball there, okay, if he was being denied, because some teams will do that, pass, go through, stop there. That was an option. Hold the ball. He could cut to the rim, or he could go screen away. But while that was happening, okay, when he's coming through, you can come and set the flare screen on the weak side, space, pop out, and you could go either way. You could go DHO here, you're just playing ball. And there is no structure. It's just making reads and counters. So that was ahead for us, either running to the rim or a step up. Now drag, bring it back. And this could happen with any of the guys, right? So if our foreman had the ball, he will bring it down. 5 has to go rim to rim or be ready to come back for step-ups. Everyone else is filling spots. We don't care who you are. This could be our 4, okay? If we have a post-up opportunity, maybe like we can go for it, which I'm going to explain in a second. Now, drag and spread for us was when the 5 is behind the ball. So when the 5 is behind the ball, we're running to spots and we're aggressive. And you're looking to get to the elbow. You're looking to get to the basket. Attack the elbow, aggressive. Like if you guys can score, you score, okay? But if we didn't have anything, okay, then we will go into drag and spread. And drag will be a drag ball screen where you come in and you set the screen off the angle. And screening, setting and using screens. And again, this is not supposed to be detail orientated, but we spend a lot of time about talking the right angles. Sometimes here, sometimes slightly change the angle, depending on where the defender is, if they're going under, all that kind of stuff. I mean, I can go about it for a while, okay? But bottom line is, okay, once we're in drag, start lifting a little bit, fly off the ball screen, roll to the rim, lift behind, you're there, okay? And we play. If, like we read the ball screen situation, drop, so ice, whatever they would do basically, switch, and then we will play. And if we didn't have anything, ball moves, look inside, you don't have anything, continuity, pass, you might be able to reject it. So when you catch it, you got to catch in triple threat, okay? And then lift, play the ball screen, stay there, lift up. And sometimes we even have an option where if our big felt he had a mismatch, instead of lifting to the elbow, he would stay on the block, below the block. So while that ball, play the ball screen, lift up, good, stay in the corner. We will pass it. And if our big demanded it and he dip sealed here, you could give it to him or you will lift and we will get the ball inside. And we just play out of it. Okay, so that was drag for us. And when the ball goes in the post, we'll have split action here. We really like the weak side player screens. Sometimes guys will set them, sometimes they will forget to set them. I will not get too funny about it. We'll maybe watch on video and we'll talk about it. Okay, but we just wanting constant movement. Okay, and guys being aggressive. For us, it wasn't so much about second and third side as much as being aggressive, okay, and taking the shots when they're there. All right, and we have the ability to play through that shot clock and be able to play on step-ups. The last option out of this, go back, was spread. So big behind, get to the corners for me. So in spread, we're in 5 out. All right, the other stuff that I showed you was 4 out. For us in spread was quick ball reversal, get open, swing it. And now we had a couple of options. We could go on to the on ball or we will screen away. Screen away, don't stay here, don't make it a double. Just don't make it a stagger, just single. Yeah, you fly off. Fly off, pass it to him, ball screen. Or keep the ball there, okay, he gets denied, okay, keep going, fly off, ball screen. It's just a lot more freedom in terms of this. Or go back, again, spread again, fly off, pass it, swing it, screen away, give it to him, DHO, there, space, ball screen, and attack. Okay, we could make it a stagger screen. We could do a lot of different things with it. Okay, but this was spread for us. Okay, go back and rewind it. The other thing that allowed us is when the big is behind, if we had a mismatch, any of our guys at any point, if they had a mismatch on the wing, they will go into a post-up. So if I'm running here and I see I have a smaller guy, I would just point and immediately we would dribble to the wing and try to post them up. We could go high-lows. If we didn't have high-low, the ball would get reversed to you, okay? You'll be able to screen away potentially and get open, pass it, and you'll be able to come here to screen away, fly off, give it to him, ball screen, attack, okay? And obviously you could use the screen and turn the corner, you know, big rolls, all that kind of stuff, right? So, but this was spread for us, okay? And, you know, you can do a lot of different things, but it just kind of gives you the freedom that the guys have. And flow, as good as it was, made us predictable. This is unpredictable. I don't know what they're going to do, okay? But something good is going to happen. If the screens are set well, the pace is good, we're composed, and we make reads and counters on what the defense does, we're going to get some good looks. Any questions on a head, drag, and spread for now? I saw video as well on this, so hopefully that will help. Okay? Thank you, guys. That's great. Thank you. I might call on you in a second. So that was a head, drag, and spread, and we put different, like Coach talked about, triggers, actions, whatever you want to call them. So we had a pistol action. You know, you guys watch NBA, so and EuroLeague, all those guys do different stuff, kind of thing with the step-ups. But for us, I think that made us a better offensive team. It allowed players to have more freedom. And certainly recruitment plays part of it, because we don't recruit two bigs. But also, if we did have two bigs, like we have a guy called Leslie Smith, who played the 5 primarily, but really he's more of a 4-5 rather than 5. We play him at the 5. But also, if we needed him, he could play at the 4 and slot into the system. So I think for us, that was a big part of the evolution and the thinking that we did offensively, basically. And then the other thing I haven't talked about, I talked about toughness. We've led the league in offensive rebounding for a while. I guarantee if there are 3 things that they're going to say about us, one is going to be about boxing out. Coach, right? So, and one thing we were saying in the change room is, you know, they will put on the scout, box out. Let's not disappoint them. Let them find out what we can do. And guys have freedom. We've done some tagging stuff, but we've changed it because I'm sure some of you are familiar with tagging. If you're on the baseline and you go for the offensive rebound, you've got to go on the high side. I'm not going to tell Thomas Bell or Thomas Edwards which side to go. I just go to the offensive rebound, and we'll figure it out from there. And I'm not going to talk too much about it, but, I mean, we could have 5 guys on the offensive glass at times, and it determined a little bit the position of the players. So if you were below the foul line, you've got to be on the glass when the shot goes up. If you're above the foul line, you've got to be ready to pick up the closest guy. So if they get possession, you can pick up the ball. Or if there was a leak-out Dirk Williams situation, like classic Dirk Williams, okay, he shoots the 3 from the corner, all right? So my guy shoots the 3 here from the corner. Dirk Williams is already gone. He's already like 3 steps in front. So we would take leak-outs with those tag guys up on top. So for us, the foul line was quite important in terms of determining offensive rebound. And I've done a lot of things, 3, 4, and 5 on the glass, weak side on the glass. I've tried a lot of things. I found this was the most. We will give some baskets in transition, but I felt in terms, BBL is very up and down. This was the best way for us to keep teams to the half court, and it has worked well in terms of offensive rebound. And I know there's a lot of discussion on Twitter around offensive rebound, and we don't convert on offensive rebounding as well. But like, I mean, we had games that we got 20, 25 offensive rebounds. I mean, like, even if you don't score on those, that's 25 more possessions. I mean, that's a lot. And eventually, hopefully, you're going to score one of them, you know. So, but that makes teams. And yeah, we're going to give some, but it's not going to be perfect. I told you about that. And that's something I had to kind of let go and live with. All right, you've got to make decisions. So that was about offensively. How much time do I have? Am I okay? That's fine. Don't worry about it. I'll keep going until someone tells me to stop. Defense. So I talked about transition defense a little bit. 2 things I'm going to show you on defense, and then we're going to go to clips. The first thing is, and Lloyd is somewhere here, over there. He made me think about it a little bit more when we were with the under-20s together, back 2016, 17, whatever it was. I was very traditional. Can I have 2 whites and 2 blues, please? One guy with a basketball. Can I have the black team on offense? Let me have up on top here. And then you go to the corner for me, please. And can you pick up the basketball there? Don't worry, I'm not going to make you run or anything, so it's fine. And we're not going to do defensive drills or anything like that right now. But the one thing is I was very much 2/3, 1/3 deny, go a little bit more central. And then just be on the now defense, close stance, get off him a little bit, keep coming. Good. 2/3, 1/3, something like that. Okay. So I was very much like brought up. This is what I always knew. That's what you do. Like in Greece, that's what you're taught. All right. But in the BBL, you get destroyed because you do a good job of defending this, but this is Ramon Fletcher right now, and you leave this guy to guard Ramon. Now, if you have a great defender on the ball, you can do that. For me, the now became more situational. So ball reversal, late clock, it just became about decision making. Okay, so we became more of a gap team, and coach talked about spacing in the BBL and what that does, all the shooters. So we started playing a lot more in the gap. So we split the difference, and we'll be in the gap, man U ball position, open stance, and we will show our length. So that's one of the things for us is show length. Just get your hands off your side here, basically. Just take away as much space and shrink the floor. It gives support to the ball, okay? And I can live with the occasional ball getting reversed a little bit easier. Now, if you're an athlete and really long, okay, arms and all those kind of things, a lot of length, okay, then potentially you can be a little bit flatter on this. You know, if you're a smaller guy, then you might be a little bit higher basically on this. But if that ball moves, you've got to get there, all right? And I'm not going to get you to do this now, all right? But I just want to talk about the gap position. For us, that really changed things defensively. We were a good defensive team beforehand, but being in the gaps and recognizing who I'm guarding, because if this is a shooter, this is Derek Williams, okay, start driving it, okay, I'm going to the shooter right now, so he's not going to get that shot. However, this guy is a driver or 28% three-point shooter, okay, whatever it may be, okay, then suddenly I'm staying in the gap. Drive it, I'm staying in the gap, and there's no split. So now they need to throw the ball there, okay? And so I think recognizing that is really important, okay? Who you're guarding, all right? And the closeouts, long closeouts, short closeouts, all those kind of things that come with it. So that was one big adjustment that we did defensively the last few years. And I think our defense is better for it, okay? The other one is the low man ball screen stuff. And I'm just going to talk about it quickly. Can I have 5 whites on defense and 5 on offense, 5 blacks on offense, please? Let's just play a middle ball screen. So let me have, are you a point guard? You are? Yeah. Just come here. Let me have the 5. Who's the 5? You're the guy that made 3 out of 4 before. You only missed on that side. You don't miss on this side, do you? Come on, show me, like just take a shot. Just I want to see. Like you were 3 out of 3, weren't you? Like you didn't even warm up or anything, right? Now I'm not going to get you to do that now. It's fine. I know you can make that. Right. So middle ball screen. Come and set the screen. 2 guys behind. Come and set it, please. Stop there. Like, so however you play it, obviously defending, like if you're hedging or whatever. Say we're playing with a drop coverage. One of the things that I used to do was fly off the ball screen, stay in your drop, stop there. Good job to fight over. But say you didn't, and you're a little bit behind, okay, and you're attacking, stay on your drop, stop there. One thing that will happen is, ideally on a drop, you don't want his shoulders to get behind his shoulders, right? Okay, but what we will have as a principle is, on the weak side, we will always hit the roll with the home defender. Stay up a little bit. And then we will be ready to X with this guy. Stay back on defense, get back on defense. Okay? For me, I mean, you can see what the problem is already here. You have a smaller guy having to deal with a much bigger guy here. All right? Okay, the difference might not be now, but if this is a 7-footer coming through and you have your point guard here, it's got to be looking different. But also, I think coming down this way, it's a very awkward. I was thinking of myself playing, because that's how we used to cover pick and roll when I was playing. And I was thinking, that's a difficult move to do, to go there and on the skip pass it for this guy to take this guy and this guy. Now, if you're hard hedging it, you have more space and time. But if you're in a more drop up to tax coverage, that's difficult. So one of the adjustments we did, go back, we started playing the ball screen more. Pass it. We started playing the ball screen more 2-on-2. Come up. Obviously, we will put a lot of emphasis on this guy and doing a good job. Okay, and that's one thing with the national team. I mean, watching France, the first game we played with the men's national team, how they were defending these actions and how they were creating separation here using their arms, it was amazing. Okay, and certainly made me think a lot, but certainly we need to do a good job, and you did a good job. But the one thing here, what we would do is, we will not help from the corner guy. He will stay on the block. His responsibility will be, he will be the ultimate helper, but really, we will not give that quick attack, skip it. He will be already there, ready to close out. So we will not give them that. Go back quickly, and the only thing we will look to do potentially is come here, high tag, so you will come into the nail, you're lifting, okay, and you're rolling, and we'll be able to give support with a tag, hit him, and let him go, okay, but you will hit him, so if that pass was going behind, then he will be able to close out. So for us, we used, and this is not perfect the way I'm showing it right now, but we used a lot more high tags in playing the ball screen 2-on-2, rather than with the low man. And we would do the same thing, come here on the ball screen, play the ball screen like a drag. Here, this side. There is a lot of different ways to do this. A lot of teams help from the 2 side. So as you're flying off, you come in and you would just play 2 and you would stay with the shooter. We changed all of that. So we would just tag, okay, from behind, okay. So as that's happening and he's lifting, you should be lifting as well. Tag him at the elbow, hit him. And that's it. You hit and go. So as he's lifting, lift, he will hit, pass it, and then you will be ready to close out. So that's just some adjustments that we did defensively. Thank you, guys. Awesome work. Give them a clap. Perfect. So that's just some stuff that we tweaked a little bit. We stopped helping with the low man, hitting the roll. We high tag. Sometimes we will not tag at all if we had a really good shooter there. So I mentioned Dirk. Dirk must like mentioning him today quite a lot. But if we had Dirk Williams behind, we would say, if you can tag, but he's the responsibility that you got to have. And obviously it puts more pressure on the big, defending the rim. But the job of the big will be basically no layups. And the job of the guard is, if he's got to shoot, it has to be rare contested. But ideally, you want to blow it up. But it just gives you a little bit of a thinking about the evolution of our team as well. Hopefully, I haven't bored you to death. All right. I'm just going to show some clips. The first one is the BBL, the early years of our offense in the BBL. And I'm going to let it play so you guys can see. So hopefully you can see the screen. Can you all see it all right? Let's play. So this is flow, what I talked about. So this is 17-18, okay? And you will see like the pass ahead, the 2-man empty corner pick and roll. And again, the concepts will be always the same. Extra passes, offensive rebounding, some of the stuff we added. But you will see through the different years. So that was, I think, 18-19 season. Backdoor cut, pass inside. And then this is, I think, the same year, or maybe the year after, playing with 2 bigs, creating the high-low, and again, making reads. Okay? And then again, flow motion. And it's not always perfect, the pace of how we want to do things, but you get a feel for it, the type of things that we would do. All right? And then again, flow motion. And then we reject the handoff and we attack and we finish at the rim. And this is the shallow cut. So it could happen on the 2-man side. And again, just change the angles, just play. And again, shallow cut on the other side. And as he's doing the shallow cut, the other guy lifts, pitch ahead. We get the open 3 ball. And then this is shallow. Okay, again, shallow cut. They're looking to switch the Newcastle guards. So we're able to create that drive situation. And again, shallow, and this was an important play, actually. Okay, the backdoor cut. And then some of the concepts that I showed you later on, we were already doing the step-ups to attack. and then this is again flow motion step up. Okay, and again, you see that change on the weak side and just taking the shot. So that was the early years, and then now you will see like this year's team. Okay, so it's the Flyers playbook there. And I'm going through these things quick, right? So obviously there is a lot of stuff there, but I just want to show you drop coverage, getting offense from our defense to offense. Again, just defending. We're out in transition, and we're just trying to create options, and that's the primary look for us. It's always our defense, and can we get the ball up the floor as quick as possible? And this is throughout the course of the season, right? This is against London, okay, when I think we beat London that game. Extra pass ahead, fill the corner, open three, offensive rebounding. You will see 3 guys on the glass, okay? And again, just pushing the pace. Step-ups. Step up, attack, and score. And you will see a head step up, boom. That should be a foul. It's not called, but anyway. Ahead. Again, look at the big coming. Okay, and this against Manchester. That must have been first game of the season, I think. Okay, and again, and you got to give time and space, but the just randomness is so difficult. And Del Pes in particular, the guy setting the screens, did a great job. You see the empty corner, pick and roll, making the extra pass, like 1 second rule, 0.5, whatever you want to call it. Again, ahead step up. First one doesn't work, re-screen. But guys have freedom to make plays. Here, Leslie picks and pops. We had options for pick and pops on those situations, but I don't have enough time. And then again, ahead, you saw the flare screen on the weak side maybe. And again, just out of ahead, we're pushing the ball down the floor. Quick ball reversal. We're filling spots, get the ball inside, we're screening away, get the open look. And we want paint touches, but we want guys to be aggressive, taking their shots. Quick handoff. Okay, on a head action, and then again ahead, we're coming down, we don't have anything, continuity. Ball goes up on top, step up, flying off, spacing, paint touch, okay, the score. And this is across the whole season. Drags, it's not always perfect, okay. And again, drag action, you see, we're thinking about playing pistol, we don't, we space, find the guy behind. It gives players decision-making. Here, the ice, the drag, so we swing it, we're going to spread, we turn the corner, we're aggressive, and then again, spread again. DHO, no one knows what we're going to do. Like, it's just kind of constant kind of movement and principles. We play through the shot clock with concepts. Again, spread, swing, screen away. We go to the ball screen, the hard heads, we make a pass. We could have an extra pass. Tevin was filling it at that point. And this is pistol. So this is, again, Leo step-ups from the perimeter guys into a ball screen. And again, we keep on playing. The ball is moving. We're looking paint touches. And again, backdoor cut, open three. And then one more time here, pistol. The spacing is not great, but we still get a paint touch out of it. And we get the score. The last thing, stop there. I wanted to talk about, it's only one clip, and I have everyone here. Next play mentality. Whatever happens, make, miss, turnover, it's about the next play. Okay? This is a clip from Glasgow. This was a huge possession for us at the time. Okay? We won the ball game there. Okay? 49-53. 3:38 to go. Shot goes up. Okay, guys on the glass. So this is like the tagging stuff. Play it. And be ready to stop it when I say. Stop there. They get possession of the ball. We are one man out right now. Okay, play it. They have numerical advantage. 2 guys behind, but we don't give up. We keep playing. We keep scrambling. We make it 5-on-5. And now, we got to defend low clock. We switch, low clock, we have different rules. We're not bumping, we're staying in front of the ball. We get the charge, we go the other way, and we score a basket, if I remember correctly. We won that game. Okay, not a lot of teams won in and Glasgow, especially earlier in the year. But it just kind of gives you a little bit an understanding of our evolution, certainly from a coaching standpoint, but also as a team as well. All right. That's it from me. I've got 5 minutes, I think, if I'm correct. If you have any questions, over to James.
Good.
Thank you, guys.
Guys, can we have a round of applause for Coach Kapoulas, please? Has anyone got any questions?
Thank you. Just a question. Obviously, I'm in my starting journey. I've only just been qualified. How do we, as a coach, how do you get over that fear of trying something new, the fear of finding an obstacle and letting that block affect your next session, sort of a thing? How would you go about overcoming that block, mental block, sort of thing?
You know, I used to worry a lot what other people think. I don't anymore. I think that was a little bit of a part of it. You know, probably my reaction before was when a player was taking a bad shot, I felt like everyone in the crowd was expecting me to do something, and I would do it. And actually, they don't care. But so I think for me it was I got over that a little bit, and now I don't think about stuff like that. I just it's experience. Yeah, and I think it's also I do mistakes every day. I mean, I do mistakes in my personal life. My wife could give you a list of mistakes I do on a daily basis. So, but I try to be better next time when I do a mistake. So, and I've come to terms with this now. Like, I thought everything had to be perfect, and I don't think it needs to be. And that's kind of how I've dealt with it a little bit, really.
Coach, during your season, you have many late game scenarios or high pressure situations as a coach. You can prepare your players for it, but how do you prepare yourself as a coach for it? And how do you train that?
It's tough. It goes back to what I said about the emotional roller coaster stuff, you know. Scouting takes a long time. You know, especially, I talked about the grind before, but it's not just the grind of a basketball season. It's the grind of a basketball season in the UK. I don't know about you guys, both my assistant coaches are, in effect, volunteers. And they do, like, Chris runs the academy, the youth program, the Division II team. I mean, he does a lot of things. He doesn't have time to do scout for me. Nick, who has been there with me from the get-go, he's a retired teacher. And again, like, I can ask Nick to come in and, you know, do scouts and stuff like that. So a lot of that falls into me. I've learned to not to go too crazy, not to get too down on myself, but also understanding I've done work today, I cannot do anything more. I just got to do it tomorrow morning. I've got a dog as well, so it helps me. The dog helps me, it regulates me emotionally. But also, I got to get up early in the morning to take her out for a walk. So that helps, because if I don't do it, if I stay up late at night, then I will not be able to take her out for a walk. So I think that has helped a little bit the lifestyle. But it's difficult. I mean, coaching, I don't know about you guys. Coaching is tough. I mean, coaching is difficult. Whoever thinks, like, you know, I say that to people like, oh, what do you do for a job? Like, I'm a basketball coach. Oh, basketball coach, really? Like, oh, that's cool. And I was like, yeah, it's like any other job. And it's just like, oh, you must have so much free time during the off season. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, it's just different busy. You need the right system of support around you. I've got great people. Like, I talked about Chris, Nick, our team manager, my wife. I mean, like, it's a system of support. And I didn't even talk about the volunteers that we have in the club. Whenever I think I have it tough, I think about all these people that give up their free time to come and help the club. And that kind of sorts me out straight away. I mean, I'm coaching basketball. That's my job. That's still pretty cool.
How do you balance empowering the players, like you said earlier on, versus making sure that the ill-advised shots aren't being taken,
and obviously your job is still win games, so obviously you might empower them, but if they're continually taking bad shots, then how do you balance that?
Yeah, it's a good question. It comes down to the players. The players that will progress with their basketball will understand what a good shot is and what a bad shot. Players know. And I think it's that point where you've got to have discussions, you've got to watch video, spend a lot of time. Jelani, watching Gale had a great season for us. Now, Jelani can shoot the thing out of it, right? I mean, and he doesn't just do that. He does a lot of things. I think he's taken the league by storm this year, basically. British Player of the Year from the journalists and things like that. Jelani will take some tough shots at time, and it's just a balancing act. But also his decision making has improved. We're watching video, we're talking about things. He gets it. He's smart, and that's why he's got to progress with his basketball. And I think it's give and take at the end of the day. There are times where you see me on the side going, "Whoa, this is becoming way too chaotic." But the great thing is this year, last year's team as well, I think in particular, when it became a little bit like this, I was actually surprisingly feeling a little bit more at ease. Vince might say, I don't know, but I felt the chances were for us to win that type of game because we were used to it. And before we were not used in those type of environments. Once you're used to it, you can defend it in practice. And we were not used to defending this in practice. So I think it's a little bit give and take, a little bit of working with the players, but it's about trust at the end of the day. And having the right players. This year, Monday morning was the best time of my week. I love working with our guys. I cannot, it was a real pleasure. I cannot say that for every year, for every season, but it was amazing.
We've got time for one more question.
This question's for both you and James. In terms of the progression, in terms of starting off your coaching careers, what would you say are the things that you kept and kind of may personally change, whether it's tactically or necessarily just as a personnel?
You start. I've spoken for the last hour.
I didn't think I was going to get asked questions of this. I guess for me, when I first started coaching, I think you have a lot in your mind. So you're thinking about lots of different things. So I think when I first started coaching, I wanted to try everything. And, I'd watch a clinic and then I'd go away and I'd put in the entire things that I learned to that clinic into my team, even if it wasn't good for the team. So when I was younger, I was very lucky because the club that I was at, they allowed me to experiment and do various different things. And I made terrible decisions and put in terrible plays, terrible defenses, etc. But I think when you get older and you start to develop a coaching philosophy and things that are important to you, concepts, offensive, defensive, culture concepts, whatever it might be, I think you start to simplify the game a lot more. So I look back at some of the games that I used to coach before, and I think a lot of the stuff I did was quite complicated. Now, I think that what I do is quite simple, and I'm comfortable with it being simple. I think that's a big thing for me anyway, is that, it's funny. We were just watching our coaching staff down here, and the guys were saying it as well. We run very similar stuff to our coach. Very, very similar. A little bit more simple than some of the things he does, but the concepts and the things that he does are pretty much exactly the same. And what we do with our players at the academy is simple stuff. If you came to watch our academy sessions, they're not very complicated. We try and keep to simple concepts. So that for me is, I don't know if that's the same for you, Coach.
No, it is. Is that working? Yes, still working. Yeah, it's exactly that. Simple. Not simplistic, but simple. I think that's kind of very important, and just things that feel right by you. They feel like you got to be yourself when you're coaching. When and by the way, I'm talking I'm 42 years old, 43. So there's so much more to learn, in this game. The thing that comes across to me is just you got to find what's right. I would look when I was growing up. Obradovic in Greece was the coach. There were some Greek coaches really strict, disciplined. They go crazy, and you just feel you got to be that yourself. But it might be you, it might not be you. You just got to be yourself. This is why I'm kind of has been part of this process, really. Just being yourself, what works for you, take ideas. Not every idea you can implement. I mean, there's loads of them. I mean, especially now, I mean, like literally, there's so much out there. I mean, YouTube, like, you know, I'm still like VHS and DVDs. I have to clean my garage and I've got like VHS tapes there kind of thing. I've got DVDs and you're wow, those things that don't even exist these days. Just be yourself and be okay with making mistakes. It's got to happen.
All right, guys. Just a final round of applause for Coach. We got a little break here, so we've run over slightly. So instead of being 15 minutes, we're going to make it just about 10 minutes. Okay, so feel free to go and get some refreshments.
Is that right?
Yeah, really good. Really good.